The girl woke up and looked at the terrible situation in front of her, immediately realizing that something was wrong. Despite the severe pain in her body, she quickly put on her clothes, fled the strange room, and went to the police station right away to report the case. The girl's name was Laura. She revealed to police officer Benson that she suspected she had been assaulted, but couldn't recall the specifics. Upon hearing this, Benson quickly took Laura to the hospital for a detailed examination. In the hospital, Benson told Laura the test results, confirming there were indeed traces of sperm in her body. Laura broke down immediately upon hearing this, saying she must have taken some kind of drug. She then told Benson she was a student who worked as a bartender at a reception to earn tuition fees. The reception was the 65th birthday party of Daniel, a department store tycoon. Many people came to celebrate his birthday, and she was in charge of preparing drinks for the guests. Laura vaguely remembered a handsome young man approaching her that night. At first she didn't pay attention, but the other person behaved very gently, and Laura immediately took a liking to him. The young man suggested a drink to Laura, then took out his long-treasured tequila. The bold Laura drank it up, and she knew nothing about what happened next. She only remembered that the young man was about her age, and there was no other information. According to the clues provided by Laura, the special harm team carried out analysis right away. The investigation results showed that Daniel, the department store tycoon, was 75 years old this year, and definitely couldn't be the young man in Laura's mouth. But it's worth exploring that the other person's private life was very chaotic. Despite his advanced age, he still energetically held luxurious parties, and even his fourth wife quickly divorced him because of this. It was said that the two had a very ugly quarrel. In response, the special harm team decided to go to Daniel's company to look into the situation. When questioned by police officer Amanda, Daniel's daughter Ellie responded that the party participants were all elderly people of similar age, and no young people attended. But when Daniel saw Laura's photo, the situation unexpectedly reversed. He suddenly revealed to everyone that his grandson Alan was also at the party that night, and was the only young person present. He believed that Alan was shy and gentlemanly, and could never be the murderer. Then he inadvertently revealed a piece of information to the police, saying that Alan was working as an intern in the company. According to this clue, Amanda took Alan back to the police station for questioning right away, but when he learned that there were sleeping pill ingredients in Laura's body, Alan looked rather confused. He said that they just tasted the wine that night, and Laura's mental state wasn't abnormal at all. After obtaining the other person's consent, the two had an intimate relationship, and there was no violation at all. Just as Amanda was about to continue the questioning, Alan's father Bieber suddenly rushed into the police station in a rage, and forcibly took Alan home despite the police's dissuasion. Facing the other person's uncooperative attitude, Alan's suspicions suddenly increased. In response, Benson decisively said that he would apply for a search warrant right away to carry out a comprehensive search of Alan's room. Not long after, the special harm team quickly came to Alan's room to carry out a search, but Anna, Daniel's current wife, strongly obstructed it. Just then, this important discovery brought a breakthrough to the case, and the special harm team quickly sent the drugs back to the laboratory for examination. The test results were surprising. At the same time, Laura was summoned to the police station again. Benson took out the photos of the male guests at the banquet right away for Laura to identify. As expected, upon seeing Alan's photo, Laura firmly said that he was the one who had assaulted her. But just as the case was about to be solved,
Sarah, the lab results came back.
Laura collapsed immediately upon hearing this, unable to accept that she had been assaulted by two men. She then directed her anger at Benson, and left the police station in a state of disarray. Based on the current solid clues, Benson quickly summoned Alan to the police station. Confronted with the drug evidence presented by the police, Alan looked incredulous and insisted he had never used such drugs. He told Amanda that he had passed out due to excessive drinking on the night of the incident, and when he woke up in the morning, Laura had already left. Quietly, strangely, Alan had no memory of the details of that night. This aroused suspicion in Benson, who believed that the other person might be hiding some secret. Just then, Laura's assault test report was released. It showed that one of the DNA samples belonged to Alan. the suspected person, while the other DNA was shocking. It belonged to Alan's direct relative. Benson believed that although Daniel was elderly, given the chaos of his private life, his suspicion couldn't be completely ruled out. In addition, Alan's father, Bieber, also aroused Benson's alertness. From the moment he obstructed the police interrogation, Benson felt something was wrong with him. With this important clue, the special harm team quickly split up and went to the department store to investigate. Bieber told Jack that he was a member of the company's board of directors and, because he wasn't interested in business matters, was in charge of managing the family charity fund. He then revealed a key piece of information. Daniel lived with his son, and what was more infuriating was that he didn't allow Alan to go to school. Bieber was very dissatisfied with this behavior and even bluntly said that his father wasn't a good role model. Jack sensed the subtle relationship between the father and son right away, then requested a DNA sample from Bieber, who showed no resistance and cooperated smoothly with Jack to complete the sampling. But Amanda's investigation wasn't smooth. Even after she showed the police DNA inspection warrant, Ellie still had a tough attitude, insisting that the move constituted harassment. Amanda ignored this and was preparing to take a DNA sample from Daniel when, unexpectedly, the other person revealed a shocking secret.
I'll save your Q-tip. I had sex with that.
As soon as these words came out, everyone was immediately shocked. Daniel was completely unaware of his mistake, brazenly claiming that Laura had taken the initiative to seduce him, and even believing that all women were fascinated by him. His level of narcissism was simply astounding. As Daniel became more and more agitated, and seeing that he had aroused the police's suspicion, Ellie quickly interrupted Daniel's speech, motioning for him to keep silent. She then firmly told Amanda that she allowed her to collect the sample, but refused to answer any related questions. On the other side, in order to help Laura get back that lost memory, Benson showed her the photos taken at the scene that night. Looking at the photos in front of her, Laura immediately recalled the scene that night. She said that although Alan wasn't good at words, he told many interesting stories about Africa that night, and then invited her to his room to enjoy more photos, leading to what happened next. But Laura made it clear that this was her willing choice. Thinking of this, she immediately felt a strong sense of guilt towards Alan, believing that she had pushed him into trouble, and then asked who the real culprit was. Benson solemnly told her the result. Laura firmly said that she would never have a relationship with an old man, and she couldn't believe that a kind old man would actually frame his own grandson. Benson responded that Daniel had personally admitted to his assault, and Laura collapsed immediately after hearing this.
Disgusting. I never would have.
In order to make Daniel pay the due price, Benson proposed dispatching Laura as an undercover agent, wearing a microcamera to invite the other person to meet. The special harm team was deployed nearby for strict surveillance, and once Daniel said information beneficial to the trial, they would take action to arrest him right away. As expected, Daniel's opening words after the meeting were to offer compensation, even whitewashing the infringement as a romantic encounter. It was very shameless. Angry Laura made it clear that she only needed an apology, but Daniel thought she was making a mountain out of a molehill, and then turned to leave. Just then,
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
but Daniel remained calm, and the special harm team quickly took him back to the police station. In the interrogation room, Daniel still insisted that Laura was voluntary. In the face of the evidence presented by the police, the other person's lawyer behaved very shamelessly, depicting Laura as a money-grubbing drug addict. Regarding this, Benson told the prosecutor with a headache that Daniel wasn't the first time to settle such incidents with money. Although he personally admitted to assaulting Laura in the recording, the other person's powerful power background would still make the case difficult to handle. But the prosecutor believed that the police now had all the key physical evidence, and even if Daniel was cunning, he could never escape legal punishment. Just when the two thought they had the victory in hand, an accident occurred. The prosecutor suddenly received news that Ellie had filed a motion on the grounds that Daniel was suffering from Alzheimer's disease. If the motion was successful, Daniel would be acquitted. As expected, in the court session the next day, Daniel and his daughter Ellie actually performed an infernal affairs drama. He first made a passionate speech to the crowd in court, claiming that Ellie was trying to steal his company, and the lawyer requested a comprehensive hearing from the judge, on the grounds of Daniel's abnormal mental state. But what was worse was that the district judge actually allowed him to use mental problems as a defense, which was undoubtedly very unfavorable to the special harm team. Benson angrily pointed out that this was obviously Daniel's escape route, and mental illness had actually become the reason for him to avoid responsibility. In response, the prosecutor said, "Then gradually expose his lies, and let the jury see his true face." Just in case, the special harm team decided to start with Daniel's girlfriend Anna, and strive to obtain the final truth from her mouth. In the police station, Anna still smiled in the face of interrogation, but Benson lied that according to the forensic examination, her fingerprints were all over the evidence bag, and it was obvious that she framed Alan in order to clear Daniel's suspicion. As expected, the other person's expression changed immediately. The prosecutor made it clear that if Anna still didn't testify in the next trial, she would face imprisonment. In the trial, in the face of the prosecutor's inquiry, Laura clearly pointed out that Daniel had been speaking very clearly from beginning to end, and there were no symptoms of Alzheimer's disease at all. Thinking of her miserable experience, Laura angrily said that Daniel's psychology was very pathological, but the lawyer cleverly used this loophole to immediately reverse the situation. Judging from the current situation, the special harm team obviously had no chance of winning. Just then, Anna also admitted her criminal facts to the judge. She explained that Daniel actually had a special preference in bed. He liked to use drugs on his partner to obtain a sense of pleasure, and even never obtained his own consent. And regarding Laura's assault, Anna was the witness. As soon as these words came out, Daniel's crime was immediately confirmed. But just then, Daniel performed an amnesia drama, claiming that his memory still stayed in the 1950s, and even shamelessly said, in that era, once a woman attended a party, it meant tacitly allowing intimate behavior with men. Daniel insisted that his behavior didn't violate the law, and the degree of shamelessness simply surprised everyone present. After the trial, Benson quickly found Alan, and asked why he had hidden the criminal facts for Daniel. Alan but said that his grandfather was a person of good character, and could never do such a ridiculous thing. But Bieber retorted right away, saying that Daniel was a disgusting selfish person, and the two had a fierce argument right away. In anger, Alan actually broke a shocking big news. He believed that the reason why Bieber resented Daniel was that his mother-in was in love with his grandfather, and even spoke rudely. The next second,
a party girl who liked to have fun.
Hey, shut your mouth!
Angry Bieber was almost out of control. The special harm team noticed that the relationship between the father and son seemed rather tense. Benson started asking questions right away, but Bieber was reluctant to reveal too much information. Benson solemnly said, "If you don't tell the truth, more innocent girls will be persecuted." And it was these words that deeply touched Bieber's heartstrings. In order to reveal Daniel's true face, Bieber thought for a moment and told all the truth. It turned out that when Anna had just become pregnant with Alan, Daniel was holding a party on the top floor of the apartment. Seeing the elegant and charming Anna, Daniel was immediately deeply fascinated by her, driven by desire, and was unluckily victimized by the other person. And Alan's mother, who couldn't accept this reality, resolutely chose to divorce. Upon learning the truth, Alan immediately fell into a breakdown. He couldn't accept that his kind grandfather was actually the culprit, who caused his parents' divorce and even hurt several women. Just then, Bieber told the special harm team that he was willing to testify in court to accuse Daniel of his crimes. The next day, in the face of the prosecutor's inquiry, Bieber exposed Daniel's pretending to be ill, believing that he just didn't want to go to prison, to accept punishment. But the opposing lawyer argued that Bieber harbored resentment, because Daniel had expelled him from the company, and deliberately retaliated, so his statement couldn't be used as a basis for judgment. Seeing that Daniel was about to win again, in the nick of time, Alan suddenly made an identification. It turned out that, when he was preparing to send Laura home that night, Daniel actually proposed a drink to the two of them. Just as Alan was about to raise his glass to drink, the other person suddenly stopped him, showing that Laura should taste the wine first. Alan explained to everyone that Daniel had known what he was doing from beginning to end. At this point, the truth was finally revealed. The furious Daniel swore in court, and finally paid the due price for his evil deeds. The film ends. This party assault case is undoubtedly a sharp satire of the evil of human nature. Relying on his wealth and status, Daniel has long-term controlled innocent girls through drugs, and even insanely extended his evil hand to his daughter-in-law. He's very narcissistic, firmly believing that all women should revolve around him, exposing the phenomenon of the objectification of women by male arrogance in today's society, and further highlighting the moral decay of the elite class. What's more hateful is the trial clip. Daniel tried to excuse himself with the excuse of Alzheimer's disease, which is very despicable, and Alan isn't as innocent as he seems, although he was suspected from the beginning, and later successfully proved his innocence. I always feel that he actually knew all this, but deliberately covered up his grandfather's sins. It can only be said that he still has a trace of conscience, and isn't completely bad. The police's meticulous investigation process in the case also reflects the complexity of the judicial process. Although Daniel's evil deeds were finally exposed, it also left a warning to everyone. In the world of power and capital, how many more women are there like Laura? When the perpetrators try to coerce the other person with power, where should they go to seek justice? If you like my channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.